welcome to episode 2 where I attempt to grow a giant pumpkin. So I did say I was going to do the next update when I turn this vine, but there wouldn't be too much to see, so I did wait until I have my chosen baby pumpkin. As we can see here, the main vine, it has a good thickness to it, which is good to see. So here's a look at it before I start to turn the vines to the extended area. So I covered this area to kill off the grass. I think I did apply it on a bit too late, but we'll get to that later on in the video. So here's the base of the stem. It's a good size at the moment. So there was a bit of an issue when I was turning the main vine here. There was a lot of plants in the way, and it was actually pointing up a lot. To get it through, I had to remove all the grass and the plants here. And we got a bit of rain, so all the roots started to come out of the ground. And we got the two side vines on the left side of the plant. These will come to a complete stop once they reach the end. And since we have a bit of a shower, powdery mildew started to form on the leaves. But it's not looking too bad. It's a bit of a grayish color, so the plant is managing it. Now if we look at my main pumpkin patch, it's doing quite well, but the powdery mildew is starting to spread here. There's not much now. I think a week after this portion was filmed, lots of leaves were really covered in it. So I had to remove a lot of the heavily infected leaves and a lot of repeated fungicide sprays. It's an organic one, so it's not as strong, but it still gets the job done. But here we'll have a look at one of the pumpkins growing. This one is Jardale, and it is looking quite nice. And one of my oldest ones that is now orange is one of my small sugars. So here, when I tried to gently bend the stem down, it kind of cracked a bit at the joint. Luckily it's not too bad, but just in case, I tied up one of the weed mat pins. But I think it's doing alright. I think it healed over just enough, but I always have to cover it every time it rains. But I think because it's growing slowly, it is really pointing up. So I have to weigh it down to prevent that. The two side vines on the left have reached the end, so these are good to cut. Also, I was gonna cut this secondary vine, but it's growing along the stick, so I decided to let it climb on it. This secondary vine was in an awkward position, so I had to cut it off. All the vines have been trying to fruit, but the plant is still not at a desired size, so we gotta keep on removing them. If I'm going to attempt a giant pumpkin next year, I think I'll make sure to amend the soil. I have discovered a new seed store which is called HappyValleySeeds. They actually sell the Atlantic giant pumpkin. So if this goes well, if I grow maybe let's say 70 kilos, 100 kilos, I might attempt Atlantic giant next year. So here I was supposed to remove the black plastic, but as we can see the grass is still around. So I decided to just leave the plastic instead. But also I made a discovery, the vine roots actually went through the plastic, which is actually good. So for some reason that middle secondary vine just stopped growing. So we've been getting a bit of hot weather and the soil is drying up quite a bit. Those roots that were above the ground from the rain all disappeared, so I'm gonna be adding some mulch. So this was a bit hard to get through because I can't walk in the middle, but we covered everything by making sure not to cover any of the vines. Excess moisture might rot the vine, so I don't want to risk any of that. Also, you really gotta keep checking underneath everything, just in case there's a random fruit growing. So here I was doing some night hunting and I discovered this little guy here. I never noticed it growing and it looks like it was gonna be ready to open the next day. This is on a tertiary vine, which is pretty skinny, but even growing along that, we still have 5 segments. And here's the current look of the plant. But judging from the size, what do you think I'll be getting? I would like to go 100, fingers crossed, but that's quite a large number, which I've never even attempted a giant pumpkin, so we'll just stick to 50 for now. But put it down in the comments what you think I'll be getting. I have heard it can go up to 200 pounds, which is a little below 100 kilos. But so far, all the foliage is good. We do have powdery mildew still appearing though, and we are forecast to have rain and thunderstorm, which is actually not a good sign. Here we are. This is currently the chosen baby fruit. I already have a concrete block ready for this and some sand. I do want to record the flower opening though, but I don't know if that'll be happening anymore with all the rain we'll be getting. Also, I'm hoping before the fruit starts to initiate, those 3 side vines fill up that little gap in the middle. And this wasn't planned, but these 2 side vines on this side have been growing, so I'm going to let them take over this little spot here. Also, the thickness of the stem at the base, it's gotten thicker, but not too thick. I think once the fruit starts growing, then this will increase in size. But anyway, thanks for watching. The next update might be next week once fruit starts as well.